All right, everyone, thank you for coming out for another amazing episode. But before we get started, we have some coaching announcements that I love to share with you because this month, which is June, we have a contest going on. So it's running until actually the end of July. And what it's going to happen every Friday, I go into the iTunes for the podcast and I pick somebody who's written a review and I give out a prize. Now, the last three, we've had three. We have this week is week 4, and I cannot wait to hand out another prize. So make sure that you put in a review, give us a rating, and also other things. Check out my website, sylviedaou.ca. I have some amazing online cycling skills programs that have been launched there for July. These are one-on-one, not one-on-ones, group, and there's 3 different types, and you can enjoy learning how to get better at cycling with these amazing cycling skills. So go to my website, check it out, have an amazing day. Make sure you follow and put a review, and we'll see you on the podcast. Welcome, everyone, to another amazing episode of Secrets from the Saddle, All Things Cycling, with your host, Sylvie Daou, and this amazing female cyclist, Lex, and I didn't even ask you how to pronounce the name, Albrecht.
So here's a story with my last name. My last name is German, and I'm very proud of my German roots, but I was born in Canada, so I'm not German myself, but my dad was born in Germany, and I pronounce it Albrecht. But every time I go to Germany, Albrecht, and I pronounce the T at the end. But I don't even pronounce it like it's supposed to be pronounced. So every time I would go to Germany, like there are some bike races there, like Ladies Tour of Thuringen, I would ask people to pronounce my name. I'd be like, "This is my name. Can you please say it for me?" Because I like it when the German people say my last name like it's supposed to be pronounced, because I don't even pronounce it the right way.
How do you pronounce it in German?
Like Albrecht or something.
Oh. Albrecht.
I can't do it.
Lex
I can't
Albrecht.
do it. I leave it to the pros.
Anyways,
I leave it to the real Germans.
Oh my gosh, we're so excited to have her here. I'm so excited because she is one of those women that have been on the scene for a long time. You see her name, you see her pictures, and as a female cyclist myself, being in the masters category, you sort of like see her around. You just you never get to meet her until you have a podcast like this and you get to meet all cool people all the time. So here's a little bit about Lex, and then we're going to bring her in. We're going to get all the details because we got a lot of things we're going to be touching on today. I'm so excited. Okay, so Lex raced professionally since 2012 and represented Canada at 4 World Championships and 8 Champions of Quebec. So it's championnat.
Yeah, I have 8 titles of Champion of Quebec in different disciplines.
Okay.
So the road, ski, yeah.
She was born in Ontario. Lex learned to speak French when she moved to Trois Rivieres, Trois Rivieres in Quebec, when she also earned her bachelor's degree in medical biology. Lex began racing at a later age of 24, which is, like she said, has been worked to her advantage because a lot of girls are looking at, like, they started at 11 and they're kind of looking at retiring about this age. And I think it's great that you started later. Lex decided to race independently on the UCI World Tour to focus on expanding her riding and racing opportunities. She's training, and we're going to be talking about this today, for races like Race Across America. That's where, like, I saw you on a poster. I'm like, oh my God, she's Canadian. And I have to talk to her about that event and what you're doing and how you're training for that. And Steamboat Gravel and Canadian National Road Championships. We have no idea if that's going to happen. Lex is also the host of a brand new TV show called Preem, or is it Go Preem? Because I was just like, that is the coolest name, because if you're a cyclist, racing for a Preem in a crit is, you're racing for money. So, and it also reminded me of the time that I crashed racing for a Preem. But anyways, that's at Preston Street. right in front of everybody. It was amazing. I was by myself too, which is amazing. So she co-hosts with her former pro Phil Gagnon. And Lex loves coffee, rides motorcycles for fun, is Senna a venture seeker, and we're going to be talking about that as well. So we got a lot of really cool stuff. You guys, you have to get on the YouTube video of this because it's going to be a real visual experience. So welcome, Lex, to the podcast.
Thanks, Sylvia. I'm so excited. Thanks for inviting me to come on.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So, and thanks for getting on at such short notice. I really appreciate that. All right. So I always love to get started and asking the question, how you got into cycling, because everybody has a different story, especially since you started racing later, but how was cycling in your life beforehand? Give us a little bit of background.
So I come from a family that's not super into sports. Like my immediate family doesn't really love sports like I do. I guess I was always a bit of the odd one out in that sense. So I didn't do a lot of organized sports other than when I was in kindergarten up until the 4th grade. I played soccer every single summer. And in those 5 years, I scored 1 single goal. And I think the only reason I was playing soccer was because I wanted that trophy at the end of the year. I just wanted the trophy. So just to say, like, I really never considered myself an athlete. I just really loved playing outside. I loved being on my bicycle. I loved running all over the place. I loved going on like little adventures in my neighborhood. So I've always been somebody who is really active. Like I still remember the first time I walked by a gym in a hotel when I was like really little, and I was thinking, man, I cannot wait until I'm old enough to play in there. And it's true. When I got old enough to play in there, I was like at the gym all the time. But there was like one period during when I was in high school, and my off days, as I would call them, I would go to the gym once. And my normal days, I would go once in the morning and once in the afternoon. I just like loved it so much. So I've always been like physical activity kind of junkie. I've never understood why. And at a certain point, I just stopped trying to figure out why I love it so much, like why it feels so good. I just was like, well, this is who I am. That's okay. So that's kind of like my history, like from way back. And then I really developed a love for cycling when I was 10 years old, and my family moved from the city of Barrie out into the country. And for me, I was just like, this is terrible. We live out in the middle of nowhere. I'm super isolated. My friends don't live here. Like by the time I was old enough to get a part-time job other than like a paper route, I was like, I need to be able to get into town, into the city to work. And then I discovered the bicycle. Not that I hadn't been riding a bike before, but I was just like, wait a minute, I can get all the way to the city on my own bike with my own 2 legs. And I just felt like so thrilled and empowered. And suddenly the bike became a tool for me to access my freedom and my independence. The bikes I was riding were kind of janky, let me tell you. And I started to recognize the road cyclists out on the road. And I thought, man, someday I want to be like them. I saw them riding together in little groups, and I called them the elite biking clique. And I was like, I want to be part of the elite biking clique and stuff. And that's kind of where my dream of having a road bike started. And I saved my money for 2 years at 2 part-time jobs to buy my first road bike. And I worked really hard for it, like really hard. And I first got that bike, and it was a dream come true. And I was super fortunate because the cycling community in Barrie was extremely welcoming to me. Like some really wonderful people taught me how to group ride. I still have memories of like little tiny mistakes I made from the beginning, and just my whole process and how I progressed and stuff, and started to learn more and more. And by the time I was finished high school, so 1 year after I bought my road bike, I moved to Trois Rivieres Quebec, where I didn't have any friends or family, and I didn't speak the language, and I just like totally isolated myself. And sometimes I thought, what am I doing? But my bicycle was my way to communicate and integrate with like the community, because every Tuesday there was a bike ride, a group ride that I would go on. And just by like pointing out cracks or like gravel or like pointy turns and stuff, I felt like I was communicating, and I was communicating with everybody. And that was such an amazing feeling. And I think that just like amplified my love for cycling, you know? And yeah, that's how I fell in love with it. And when I was in university, I used racing as a way to really push my limits, because doing an undergrad in French in a second language in medical biology, which is like one of the harder degrees there, was a real challenge too, to like be added on top of living like a student with like super restricted budget, like having a very, very small like circle of people that I could communicate with. Like my French was functional. I couldn't express my personality or anything, which was like lonely and frustrating sometimes. But I was like, I need to learn
Lex,
how to do something.
Can I ask you how, like, what took your family from English to French, like from Ontario to Quebec?
It didn't take my family to Quebec. I went by myself.
Okay. So for some reason, I thought your family left. So you decided to go to Trois Rivieres to go to school.
Yeah.
Oh, because of the biomed program there?
At first, it was because when I was finished high school, I didn't know what I wanted to study in university. So I didn't want to commit to a full program and then like back out of it or push myself through it and regret it. So I was like, I'll go to Trois Rivieres. I'll learn French for 1 year at the French program for non-Francophone students. And that will be a productive use of my time. And then after that, hopefully I'll know what I want to study. But I fell in love with Trois Rivieres. I was like, I'm not leaving this place. So I was like, I'll just do my undergrad here.
That's great, because like I can't think of very many people who would decide to do that at that age, like just to go and learn French, like ever. But that's amazing. Were you thinking like, I need to have French in my life at that point when you decide to go there?
I knew that I felt like I needed to have a degree in university, but I was so sick of high school. Like I was just over it. And I knew that if I took a year off of school, I would not go back to studying anything. So I was like, I need to stay in school. And I've also always had this little thing that's like kind of nagged at me in the back of my mind saying like, you better do like different stuff and really push yourself compared to maybe like what the average path or trajectory that people take is, if you want to accomplish things that are maybe like above average. So I was like, I got to do stuff that's different, you know?
Wow. Now that's weird, certainly different. Because you know what? I always thought you as a Francophone for some reason.
Thanks.
You're welcome. But I mean, like having a second language, as you've noticed, is quite beneficial.
Yeah, especially in bike racing, because like in 2016, I moved to Italy because I got a contract with an Italian team. And Italy, Italian is a Latin-based language like French is. So I was able to pick it up quite quickly. And it was pretty easy actually for me to understand the gist of conversations. And then after a while, I got to be able to speak as well. I lost most of it now. The one thing that did help was as soon as I learned all the trashy words, like as soon as I learned how to talk like real trashy, then I got really accepted in the team. But French, my background in French really helped me for that.
Everybody listening, you need to have French as a background.
Yeah, French or Spanish or
yeah,
one of the Latin-based
dual language. So then what drew you to biomed and you got your degree in it?
So I've always really been interested in physiology, how the body works. Pharmacology was another thing that I was interested in, and kinesiology. I really wanted to study kinesiology, but I didn't trust myself to be able to do something where I would make a living or create a job or a career path for myself that I would be proud of with an education in kinesiology. And I also was afraid that I would get frustrated in a kinesiology program because I assume that it wouldn't go deep enough. Like, so why does the body adapt this way or react this way? Like, I want to go like deeper on more like cellular level. So, So yeah, that's kind of why. A couple of reasons, I guess. But
that's interesting thought process behind that, because a lot of people are just like, oh, we just go into kinesiology because, you know, it'll lead me to be a personal trainer, or, you know, like a beginner to like a chiropractor or something. And really good. So what did you end up graduating with? And so we'll just wait for, okay.
Okay, sorry.
So what did you end up?
I'm here.
Okay, so what did you end up graduating with? And is that what you're working in now?
So to finish my degree, I had to do an internship, and I really wanted to work for Christian Ayet. Christian Ayet is the director of the doping control laboratory in Montreal. Canada only has one. I think that there are 3 in North America, or 3 in like Canada, United States. I don't know if there's one in Mexico. But I saw a conference that she gave in Montreal just before I started my degree. And actually, I think she actually influenced my choice of degree too. Because I figured that if I did medical biology, I could study something really interesting, integrate that into. I'm not saying that Christiane is passionate by sport, but she like integrates the science part with sport through what she does with the doping control laboratory and all the work that she's done with WADA, the World Anti-Doping Agency. So I worked super hard to get an internship with her. Like, I knocked on doors and then knocked on doors again and again and again and again until finally I got one. And that's how I finished my degree in medical biology. And then I was offered the opportunity to either do my master's degree with them or continue to work at the lab. And I did a little calculation, and I thought, if I do my master's degree, I cannot work in bike shops anymore. So I cannot have bike shop discounts. And the money that they're going to pay me to do a master's degree is not enough for me to be able to buy new chains when I need them, new tires when I need them, or like change the tubes. So I was like, I can't ride my bike. I'm not doing it. So I was just like, okay, I'll just work. So yeah, that's how that happened.
I love your thought process, because like, seriously, it is a mathematical equation as to like, should I do this or should I do that? If I can't ride my bike, well, then I'm just going to work. And so are you still working for her? Or are you working? Where are you working?
So I finished in 2011, just before I started racing pro in 2012. And the whole time I was racing pro on the World Tour or on UCI teams, that was my job. Like, that was my job. Yeah.
So, you know what? I've talked to a couple pros and I haven't really asked, I mean, like, can you effectively have a side hustle to make some extra money for yourself while riding pro?
I mean, that's difficult. You can't have a job where you're like going into the office or anything, because like you're traveling.
like an online, like a side hustle thing, like where you're
few hours a week, maybe. Like I feel like a lot of people that I've kind of crossed paths with over the years that maybe haven't done pro cycling, they kind of equate their experience with recreational cycling to what they see the cyclists do, like maybe through media or in races and stuff like that. But there's a whole bunch of stuff that you don't see behind the scenes, and it's more than a full-time job. Every single choice that you make all day long impacts what you're doing, and you have to be fully subordinate too. Like, you receive an email with a plane ticket. Okay, you're going here. You're not gonna be home for like 3 months. You're going to go here. Like, when you're on the road, like, you don't go sightseeing. It's not like it's very structured and pretty rigid and stuff. So, so I actually did a lot of consulting work on the side while I was racing.
Well, that's what I was talking about, like something like that.
Yeah, but that's super rare. And I don't know if that's a really good idea that I did that, because I know that maybe it did take away some focus sometimes, or maybe some energy, I should say. But like my peers on the team, they didn't do it. But for me, I have this like anxiety thing of like, I got to survive. Like I have to make sure that like what happens if I'm injured or something, or what happens if for some reason I don't get a contract next year, or what happens like when it becomes time to retire. I need to have something to like that already has a little bit of momentum. And I think that it helped exercise my brain a little bit more too. I mean, some people have support from families, significant others, and stuff like that, but I sometimes had to be a little bit crafty to just to feel comfortable, I guess.
Yeah, but that's exactly what I'm personally thinking, like, because, you know, I just watching the last couple of months where, you know, sponsorship is like literally pulled out from underneath your feet, and your contract is one day and then the next day you don't have a paycheck. Like, yeah. And you know, I know maybe it's not the norm that some girls like would do that, but I totally feel like, what if you do get injured? What if you don't have sponsorship? Like, how do you have bring in money on the side? And that's kind of what I was.
I think it's so essential that athletes, at the very least, always have their radar on, you know, that they're always thinking about like connections or opportunities or the value that they can bring to the table apart from performance. I think that's super, super important, not only for personal development, but happen when you're an athlete, and I let it forever, you know. So
yeah, no, I totally get, because like I was, oh gosh, I'm so bad, but I've talked to some girls who are literally doing their masters at the same time as, you know, training for the Olympics.
Yeah, I guess the cool thing about that is that you can do that part-time if you want to, right? You can kind of do that. Yeah, but still.
Yeah, but yeah, I guess so, because we just don't understand like the magnitude of what's expected from a pro racer, like the lifestyle or the training, you know, that goes on a weekly basis. So that's kind of interesting, because I've always wondered, and you kind of gave me the answer that I was expecting. And I would be like you, like, need to have something to fall back on just in case, keep some sort of momentum flowing as to, you know, what am I going to do, and have a little extra cash or whatever. But okay, so how long did you spend in the pro circuit?
So my last contract with a pro UCI World Tour team ended at the end of 2019, and my goal for 2020 was to continue to race for sure, like not retire, except for I didn't want to sign with another pro team, and because I needed a little bit of freedom, and my Maslow's hierarchy of needs pyramid was like lacking a little bit of a base. So like stability, like relationships, like there no more like friendships and ties with family and everything, community, like it was no longer there, because like the whole racing for me, it was just so like egocentric and stuff. Plus I was on the road all the time. So I think I was like maybe home 2 months out of the year, and those 2 months were not consecutive. Like it was exploded throughout the calendar kind of thing. Right. So after like a certain point, I started to get exhausted emotionally, I think. And fortunately, like I did not lose any passion for cycling, for training, for racing. But when COVID hit, my plans to race a lot of gravel, to race selected road events, especially like guest riding at UCI events, and hopefully qualifying for Worlds again to represent Canada at World Championships, well, it all went out the window. Because all the races got canceled. Companies were so uncertain about what the pandemic was going to bring to them. They weren't sure if people were still going to continue to purchase bicycles and accessories and stuff. Now we know the answer. Like,
yeah, seriously, don't have anything left. Sorry, still in a pit. But so, yeah. So did that kind of like relieve you? You're like, oh, now I don't have the pressure. I can kind of do what I want, kind of thing. Like, how did you react to it? Because a lot of people react different that I've spoken to.
Well, for when the pandemic hit, I was just torn to shreds because I was already making this huge change in my life and taking a huge risk by racing more independently and then working like one-on-one with different companies and stuff. And then the pandemic hit and it just ripped all my plans to shreds. So I was very like anxious and worried. But then I had this light bulb moment. I was just like when was anything ever certain anyways? Like I could have like broken my collarbone at any time, or I could like anything could have happened. The world could have exploded before, even because there was a plan. Like just because there was a plan doesn't mean that like it was all gonna go as I wanted it to. So I was just like, well, it's kind of like the same situation I was in before after all. Plus, on the bright side, here I am in this year where I'm choosing to do something like a lot differently than I've ever done it before. But everybody else is having their boat rocked too at the same time. So like we're all in the same situation. So I was like, yeah, the planets have aligned for me in a certain way. So I mean, there are plenty of difficulties that the whole pandemic has brought, and like I certainly like feel super bad for the people who have like went through it in the most difficult ways. You know, like have lost a loved one, or who have and are still suffering from the symptoms and the effects of the virus. And you know, a lot of people like they lost their jobs, careers that they had built up, like businesses and stuff. That's horrible. But yeah, that's what I explained just a couple of seconds ago. That's how I experienced it, like personally, I guess.
Yeah, you like you said, you came out of it. You're like, yeah, at a light bulb moment. Everybody's experiencing the same thing as me, and then you're like, what did you do with that?
Yeah, there's always a bright side to every single difficult situation, every single challenge.
I love it.
I think, yeah, being a bike racer like forced me to learn that. And maybe some people find it annoying when I'm always like, yeah, but at least, or like I'm thinking of the bright side. But it's for me, it's honestly just like a reflex now, and it's like
I think you have to
me a little bit.
For sure.
Yeah,
it's like, what good can come out of this, right? Like, because I've talked to some girls where their whole identity was wrapped around the competition and the race, and then it was just like all gone. Like, I don't have a purpose right now. And like, you know, especially the ones that were training last year for Olympics. And that's just like,
yeah.
But a lot of them are like, yeah, well, this gives me, I didn't quite feel prepared, but now I have a whole year to prepare myself. And I'm feeling super good about that. And you're just like, so it kind of got lots of different reactions from some of the female cyclists that I interviewed, which is kind of interesting to see like where their head was at. But I'm glad that you found other things to do, because it seems like you're pretty industrial and entrepreneurial, if I do say so. Like,
I just love to ride my bike, and I love to share the story of like my passion for riding and the different adventures that I have and can have and stuff like that. And so I'm just that's why I became a professional cyclist. It was kind of by accident. I was just looking for ways to kind of, maybe I can like ride here, or like how do I get to have this opportunity? I just want to ride. So I think I'm always going to be like that.
I think that's awesome. Now, you said you started at 24. So how long were you on the circuit? Like, how long did you race pro? I'm just trying to find out how old you are. Really.
2019. Oh, I'm 34. I turned 34 this year.
Oh, congratulations. Yay. So
I made it this far. Yeah.
So 10 years then, roughly.
Yeah.
9 years.
Yeah.
So how did you feel? How did you feel being? I'm just gonna wait.
Sylvie, we're cutting out. Okay.
I know. Okay. So I was just waiting for you to come back. So how did you feel? Now, did you ever feel weird? Because like at 24, some girls like, you're kind of old to be getting on the circuit now. But I assuming you never felt that way, because I can't see you being like concerned about that at all. You're just like, I just want to race my bike, and I want to race it hard, and I want to race it in Europe. And when a lot of girls are kind of looking at like, 27, 28 kind of retiring kind of deal? How did that, you just like,
I mean, when I started, I did not necessarily feel old, like, because my peers, a lot of my peers on the team were older than me. But the one thing that I did feel was I really felt like I got like gypped, because I was just like, all these girls got to start so much younger than me, and I had to like fight just to have a bicycle and like to figure out ways to race and stuff for so long. So I really felt like everybody else had like 18 steps up on me, and here I was like scrambling, but still like finally I was like living, I wouldn't even say a dream, because like I never even dared to dream to be a professional athlete. I never thought that was even a possibility. And I actually felt a little bit bitter about that. And I was like, what if I would have had the opportunity to race when I was younger? What if I would have had like the support from my parents to do like organized sports and stuff? And what if? But after some time had passed, and after a few years of racing, I realized, wait a minute, I think that I actually am a little bit more fortunate, because I know that I have a degree to fall back on. I know that I have concrete work experience to fall back on when I'm done cycling. And this gives me some peace of mind to be able to really focus on racing and to commit to this opportunity that kind of presented itself to me by miracle, which is like those professional racing contracts. And through all of like the little struggles that I had in terms of like figuring out ways to survive, because the first years, the salary was pretty like little, like really, really little. So I had to be super crafty to survive, like to put breakfast on my table and stuff like that, to pay my rent. But like,
I can see you being crafty.
Oh, I was crafty. Like I had to sell all my appliances the first year. Like, yeah, like crazy. But I made it happen. And like that first year of racing, I actually put more money into savings than I did like when I was working. But just figuring out ways to survive, like when you're pushed, when you're hungry, like you actually can make a lot more progress and gains, I think, than when everything is just like handed to you on a silver platter. Yeah. So then I realized, okay, I got to stop being like so bitter and stuff, because it's a waste of energy. It's negative. It's like, I'm super fortunate. Like, look, I'm Canadian. Like that in itself is just like a miracle, right? And I have 2 legs and I'm super healthy. So yeah.
And you live in Quebec.
It wasn't so bad. Yeah.
You're a part Quebecer. Yay.
Yeah.
So
starting later wasn't so bad.
Well, I love that you said that, because I was just waiting, because education is so important. Even if you didn't start like on the race circuit at like 18 or 17 and, spend all your time racing, you were able to, like you said, fall back on. And look at you now, like seriously. Okay, let's talk about now. All right, you were going to show us something, or you're going to show me something pretty cool. Like, okay. So if you're watching this YouTube, you're going to see her headphones. They kind of look like she came out of a helicopter, but but they're Senna headphones. Yep. And Lex is totally into mountain biking, motorcycling, which I love. Yeah. And that's on my bucket list. I came close twice to getting my motorcycle license. Didn't have the cash. Anyways, but it's there now. I've got kids, and it'll be there later on. But she's going to show us this helmet, this bicycle helmet that has an integrated intercom, or like,
yeah. Well, here, how about I show you?
Yes, show us. Okay, we all have to check these out.
This is one of my motorcycle helmets, and this is how I discovered Senna. Okay. So this right here on the side is like the outside control for a communication device that's in the helmet, and it allows you to speak with other people on the road, or listen to music, or have GPS directions, or take phone calls and stuff. So that's how I knew about Senna, and this is where this company has their roots in the motorcycling industry. And when I contacted them, when we first started talking, they told me, "Hey, Lex, we have this new product like for cyclists." And I was like, "What? This is cool!" Like I love motorcycles and bikes, and this is it. this is a bike helmet with the same technology that they have for motorcycles, which is super cool because like one of the things that is really important is noise cancellation on these types of systems, because on a motorcycle, you're going super fast. So you can just imagine the noise that all that wind creates.
Yeah.
So they're able to cancel that wind noise, and the same type of technology is in these helmets. So right here at the front, you can see that there is a microphone that sits like just above like your mouth pretty much. And then above the ears, there are speakers here. And then there are 3 buttons on the side. Yeah.
Okay.
So you can listen to music through this. You can listen to your GPS directions. You can take phone calls. People won't even know you're on the bike. So if you want to play hooky,
you're just like talking to yourself. So,
but the thing that I love the most, though, like if you're cycling with other people, right? You have to single up on the road. You can continue your conversation. For mountain biking, like mountain biking, even if you're riding with other people, if you're in single tracks, you can't really chit chat, right? But with this, like with these helmets, you can still speak with other people. So they like connect to each other.
How many do you have? You got like 3 of them.
I gotta have some to share with friends.
Well, that was one of the things, like they all have to have these helmets. Okay, so everybody picture these helmets. If you're looking at your helmet, there's a little microphone right above your forehead. So right in the middle of your forehead. And so there's a little microphone there. And then the speakers, sorry, that's the speaker. Yeah. No. And the microphones are right above your ears. So kind of placed at the bottom of the helmet over your ear. And
like
and then at the
straps.
back. Yeah. So right between the straps. And then at the back, there's a control where you can volume on, off. Can you talk to me with that on, or does it wouldn't Okay, so we're gonna take a second. She's going to sync it with her Bluetooth.
So now searching for my, so I'm gonna disconnect this.
Okay, she's gonna put her helmet on. We're gonna continue the conversation. Okay. So here's the question: how much does one of these helmets cost?
That's the crazy thing. Like they're super affordable. The only thing is that Senna doesn't ship to Canada right now because it's not their fault. It's some type of like import like problems that Canada created, I think. So you have to buy them from their Amazon store. So this one, the R1, costs I think about 150. Oh wait, can you hear me?
Kids are going back to school in Quebec. Woo-hoo. So exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can only get it on Amazon.
Yeah, so unless you live in the United States. And it costs about $150, which is crazy because it's a super good helmet. Plus it has all this technology integrated into it. So, I mean, I don't even know how they're making money on these compared to like other helmets on the market, because it's like comparable. The helmet itself is comparable to any other like POC or Giro or you know, all the other helmets that cost a lot more money. So
yeah, because I'm sponsored by Brico. That's cool. And I'm just
Brico. Do you have the old school glasses?
No, I don't have any glasses yet. I'm like, I've got clothes, but and I got a helmet. I'm working on shoes, and well, because do you know Leo in Montreal? You know Logica Sport in Montreal?
Yep.
Yeah. So Leo, so I work with him with our cycling club, Cycle Fit Chicks, for all of our kits. And yeah, so he asked me to be an ambassador for them. Which is kind of cool. Yeah. So, but all right. So you got these helmets. I am going to personally check it out because I don't necessarily listen to music, but sometimes I do listen to podcasts. I don't listen to music. But
yeah, for long rides, I love podcasts too, and these helmets are amazing for that because you don't have to have like an earbud in, so you can still hear like ambient sound, so it's not dangerous, you know. Plus, it's legal.
Totally. That's what I love, and you know, and I ride by myself too quite a bit, just to ride. But and I'm looking for it, even though I'm sorry, I won't tell you, but even though I got my Brico helmet, I'm like, it's not orange, Leo. I need an orange helmet to go with my. So Picky. All right. So Lex, let's talk about your current cycling. And I want to talk about the Race Across America. Like,
Yeah.
what made you decide to do that? And how were you training for it? Because this is like an epic race. Tell me about it.
So the Race Across America can be done solo. It can be done with 2 people. It can be done in a team of 4 people or 8 people. To do it solo or in a group of 2 people, you have to do like a qualifying event because they don't just let anybody in, because like it's legit across America. We started in Oceanside, like SoCal, like right at the very like southern part of California near San Diego, and race all the way up across to the northeast of United States, and we finish in Annapolis, Maryland. So like, I mean, that's pretty long. People that do it solo are like legit wrecked sometimes for months. And like we're doing this. No way. No.
That's what I thought you were.
I shouldn't say no way like that, because like maybe someday I'll do it, but like no, that this year no. Like I'm not even interested. Part of the reason that I'm so excited about Race Across America is because I'm doing it with this team of like amazing people, like amazing. So I'm doing the 8-person one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and we're aiming to finish it in about 6 days. So like imagine that. Like the way it works is it's a relay. So one person on the team is always on the road at a time, and we're looking at doing 20-minute segments each, like 20. So this is a strategy. There are 8 of us. We're splitting into like 4 groups of 2. So one pair will be on for 3 hours, I think, and then another pair will be on for 3 hours, another pair will be on for 3 hours, another pair will be on for 3 hours. And when we're on, we're just going to alternate 20-minute efforts with our partners for 3 hours. And apparently this is the way to like be the most efficient and race like as fast as possible. And that is also going to allow the racers to stop at different cities. I think we have 21 or 22 different stops. And that number is like, there's a significance to that number. So I should know if it's 21 or 22, but we're going to stop and speak with different people across the country. So I'm on a team called 1 Mile. And the purpose of 1 Mile is to raise awareness and support for veterans, and to make sure, like to help talk about suicide, veteran suicide, to reduce the stigma and prevent it as well. And 1 Mile works together with professional athletes, with business people, and with people people from the military to kind of build each other up and to inspire each other. And for me, this couldn't have been like a more wonderful time to be a part of something like this, in a selfish way and in a like way that feels really rewarding too, to be able to give and to share and contribute as well. And we did have one training camp at the beginning of this year where part of the team members were there. So there are 8 riders on the team, but there's like about 20 staff. We're all team members. So there are 8 riders and 20 like support crew, but every person is a teammate, which is just kind of cool, because like in pro cycling, we always call the staff just staff member. And on the team, we have people who like, we have Navy SEALs. I didn't know what a Navy SEAL was before this training camp, but holy smokes, now I'm getting like a bit of a better idea. Like people are incredible. We have like a former NFL player. We have a 4-time Olympic medalist, Steve Lewis. He won 3 gold medals actually. We have like a former pro triathlete. We have a doctor, like lots of people who have done and who do really amazing things. And I have never felt the type of chemistry that I felt at this training camp. I was just like, these are my people.
How did you get invited to this? Like, how did you connect with all these guys? Did somebody say, hey, I kind of know this girl, Lex, and she'd be really great for the team? How did you get in that?
But the way that the mural came about was I knew about the team because they're using Senna helmets, because for all these transitions that the team will be making between riders throughout the race, it's actually an opportunity to either save or lose a lot of time. So to be able to communicate between riders when you're out on the road, that's going to give us a huge advantage. So Senna told me about this team, and when I started speaking with them, because I wanted to share with them how I use the helmets, how they change my training, how they change my enjoyment of cycling too. I told them how much I thought their cause in the race was pretty cool, and eventually I got a call back saying, you know what, one of our riders is moving to Germany. We need somebody. Like, do you want to be on the team? I was like, yeah, like, let's do this. I don't know what I'm getting myself into. Like, I don't know any of you guys. And like, I've heard of the Race of America. I've dreamed of it before, but like never made anything close to a goal. So I don't know the details. And anyways, that's how the opportunity came up. I'm telling you, it's a miracle.
Wow. That is so cool, because I could see myself doing something like that. People just, hey, I heard about you. Would you like it? And I'm like, yeah, sure. What's it about? What's it about? But so have you heard so this is really cool. So it's 1 mile. And have you heard of my friend Daniel Hurd? Dan Hurd?
No, but maybe I should have.
Because he's a military guy, and he rode across the America or the US for suicide prevention. Military guy. He is on a podcast, Heart of a Veteran, or I'll connect you guys, but it seems like very similar, like on the same lines of the same thing, because it's suicide prevention, veterans, for veterans, you know.
And we gotta talk.
Yeah, he's a super cool guy. He was like my maybe he was in the first 10 episodes of interviews of my podcast.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, you should go look him up. And yeah, so it's one pedal at a time. And so that's another guy, but yeah, he took 2 years. He went straight across. He was doing like all the states, and then he had an accident in Arizona, which put him out for, that happened in November, and he's just getting on his bike like now. All right, because when I saw you on that poster, I was like, maybe she's doing it solo, and this is like the group that's doing it. So, but how many people are doing this event? Like teams, singles, solos, or solos or teams, or?
I think I heard like, well, there's definitely over 1,000, but I think it's closer to 2,000 people total, but that includes all the support crew. Like, it takes a lot of support crew, a lot of people. Like, we have a lot of vehicles and stuff. Like, so the people like that are supporting us are pretty much like more important than like the riders, you know. No, we're all equally important. I think we're equally important for sure. And like, one person cannot do their job without the other person. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I can imagine you have a caravan, like, for bikes, for sleeping, for food, like.
Yeah, and then there's so many rules too. Race Across America has so many rules, and rightfully so. Like, I mean, it's a huge race. Like, you're racing under conditions where you could be like totally exhausted. You're racing out on like public open roads too, like 24/7. So you can be like going through like a mountain pass in the pouring rain, or even in snow in the middle of the night, and you can be like totally exhausted. I heard of this one guy, he was doing it solo, and he taped a broom to the back of his, like, he couldn't hold his neck up anymore. So he taped a broom to the back of his back and to his head to hold his neck up. Like, imagine being exhausted to that point. So.
Oh my God. That's when you like stop and have a nap on the side of the road. Like, gosh. Okay. So when does that start? When does that start? Because I guess you have to wait to be able to get over to the States.
June 16th, I think, is the start date. And right now I'm waiting for that work visa, and I cannot travel across the border if the visa is like, application is still being analyzed. So I'm kind of wondering like what's going to happen, because we're cutting it a little bit short, but yeah.
Whoa. So are you going to go over there to work, or is this your visa is for this as considered to be work. So we're just
I don't need a visa to race across America. I'm just like a Canadian going to do like a thing in the States, like a bike race in the States. But the work visa is for another project that I'm a show on Preem TV, which is called the Preem Show. The Preem Show is airing every single Wednesday, and it has been since the beginning of March. And then we have different segments, like standalone segments that come out on the platform, like different other days of the week. But the show that I'm hosting with Phil Guyman is the gig that I'm moving to Los Angeles for.
All right, let's talk about Preem TV, because like I'm just chatting up a storm here.
Sorry about that.
I just looked.
My phone died. Yeah, I was plugged in, but it died. Yeah.
So I was just looking at my friend Dan Hurd, because his website is Ride with Dan USA. So and I'm gonna connect you guys. But so
Thanks.
Let's finish up with Preem TV and how you got into that, like how that fell into your lap, because that's kind of a cool thing to be doing, is to get on TV and talk about cycling. Love it.
Yes. Okay. Let me move my phone here. Okay. How's this? Can I still talk like this? I'll try to look in the computer camera.
You look perfect.
Okay. I'll let you restart the conversation. Sorry for messing it up.
Oh, hey, no, I was just looking up Dan because I wanted to connect you guys, but I want to finish up with how you got into starting or being part of Preem TV, because that's a really cool gig to fall into. Like, was it a creation of yours?
Yeah.
Yeah, tell me about that.
So there's Preem TV, and then there's the Preem Show. Preem TV is the entire like channel, and you can check that out at gopreem.com. And then the Preem Show is what I'm co-hosting, and I'm co-hosting that with Phil Guyman. That's the weekly show that comes out, and it's a longer show that lasts about 20 minutes, I guess. And then the segments that come out on Preem TV are maybe like 3 to 10 minutes approximately, I'd say. And co-hosting with Phil is super fun. So far, we've done it just virtually. And also we've been taking turns, like alternating hosting on our own, from Montreal or Quebec and him from California, until I get that visa and I'm able to like legally co-host with him in the United States. So we just want to do stuff like legit and clean and stuff, just to, because it's legit. And
it's fun.
Yeah, it's another one of those things that happened by miracle, you know? I think Preem was looking for somebody to co-host with Phil who loves cycling, who has a background in cycling, who loves sharing stories and adventures and loves connecting with other people who are really passionate about the sport too. And I was just fortunate enough to have the opportunity to say like, hey, maybe I would be a good fit too. And so I spoke with them.
Hey, what about me? But that's, like you said, opening up doors and knocking on doors like you did before. It gets you opportunities.
And I had my interviews and stuff, and then we decided to move forward. But like I said, it's a bit of a risk for me in a sense, because like I'm really changing a lot in my life, like moving to California. But like I said, I really like taking chances, taking risks. And this is exactly like what I love, what I'm passionate about, cycling. So, and it's an opportunity that I get to enjoy cycling with a lot of other really cool people. So.
Are you going to drive across the United States, or are you going to fly? Are you going to bring your car?
I got rid of my car. Sylvia, I got rid of so much stuff. The junkyard came and picked it up and paid me $450 for it. I still have my motorcycle. I don't know if I'm going to sell it or ship it or what. It's for sure when I get there, I'm still having a motorcycle. Like I need to, like first world need to.
First world need to. Well, you need to get around. I mean, you could get a moped, maybe a Vespa. That would be kind of.
Yeah. Or cycle. Bike, any kind of bike, motorcycle, anything.
Well, you can get like a nice cruiser. Are you going to be along the river or along the ocean?
Isn't it funny that no matter where we live, like we always think of the body of water as a different thing. Like like somebody will come to Montreal and like call like the St. Lawrence River the ocean, or like the lake or something. Like I grew up by a lake, so for me, like it was like, oh, or down by the bay, you know, like that in the song. Bay.
Well, Bay of San Francisco, you can be close there. But oh my gosh, so this has been amazing, and we will be watching Lex from afar on all the things that she's been doing. So before you freeze again,
sorry,
let's no, but this has been amazing. So we got a lot of things to watch. Okay, so in June, hopefully she'll be in the United States. She'll be gearing up to start the race across America.
Yep.
So we'll all be shouting out, you know, giving her good kudos from here. I'm sure we'll see lots of things on social media, and make sure we'll share all those. And this is also great because her episode is probably going to be coming out in June, so it'll be coincide with that. And then of course, watching her on Preem TV, which I'm excited because I never even knew that existed. I was just searching around like, hey.
Well, it's brand new. It's brand new.
So there you go. And don't forget, I want to be like, I want to be on there one of these days. When you're finished with all your other like lineups, just add me to the end.
We're keeping you in mind, Sylvie.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks. All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. This is so amazing, just chatting with you and getting to know you better. And please give us your takeaway, your biggest takeaway from this episode. We'd love to hear it. And also Lex and I would love a 5-star plus a great review on the episode, right, Lex? 5 stars all the way. And thanks for listening. Make sure you subscribe and put on your notifications so you don't miss this episode and others that are going to follow. And have yourself an amazing day. Thanks for coming out. It's been exceptional.
Peace out, home dogs.
Woo!